can access Channel 9 from the City Hall Council Chambers. It's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Well, this is City Councilman Kaz Kwiatkowski, and I'm doing the show alone today, which is okay. Hopefully we'll have a lot of phone calls and it'll go quick. So feel free to call in. The number's on the screen. And the only thing we ask is that you can ask any question you want. All subjects are open to discussion. Just keep it within the bounds of good taste and try not to get personal with anybody, and that's the only rules. Outside of that, we'll take phone calls anytime you want to call in. And beautiful summer day, kind of winding down, and we'll be into Celebrate Erie and a few of the festivals around town, and after that we'll be in our normal mode as Erieites to complain about the coming weather, the winter. But in the meantime, let's enjoy it, and hopefully we'll have a few more days like this. If you're like me, you're probably getting a little tired of watching Olympics already, but yeah, you still got a week and a half to go. Still some good baseball to be played in Erie and other places. And outside of that, let's see what we had, any hot subjects lately. Looking down the list here. I see I've been riding around town. They're still doing a lot of the roads, getting them all ready, and ending those projects. A little disappointment that I read that Erie Brewing left the city, and at least it was good news that we managed to keep Voodoo Beer in the city of Erie. They're taking over the Boston Store building. That was some good news coming down the pike. I was hoping we could have kept Erie Brewing in town, but that's a business decision and not much you can do about that. But I do hope that we can, in the future, get more businesses to come, hopefully, and develop in Erie and even in the surrounding parts of the city. It's important to our tax base. We'll be talking later about a couple issues concerning tax exempts and what we can do to solve that problem. I know the news is dominated by GE, and that's an issue that's I'm glad I'm not one of the workers out there. It's going to be a tough decision for them, and I'm one that feels it is their decision, and hopefully things come to a good conclusion out there. But bear in mind that a lot of the things that are happening are not city issues or county issues. They're actually on the state level and much to do out of our control. In the Commonwealth here, a lot. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, how are you doing this afternoon? This wonderful, beautiful day.
Well, I'm not complaining, because in 3 months we'll be complaining the other way.
I think so.
Don't you think?
No, I love all the 4 seasons.
I mean, you do, but a lot of people will be complaining in 3 months.
Well, ever since I put my snowblower to rest, I don't complain too much.
Yep, I agree with you, because, I'll take these days anytime.
Well, I have a guy come in and plow my driveway now.
Well, I had to too, because it was just when you start to get our age, and then your male son leaves, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, I got 2 snowblowers too. I got a great big monster in the garage, and I got a 10.5 horsepower air, and I've got a yard deal with 3 reverses.
I thought about buying one once, and I just never got around to it.
Yeah, there's so many things can go wrong with them today, though, and they should have gas that isn't ethanol related. They should have the real gas from way back when.
Oh, I mean, they put the corn in there or whatever it is.
Yeah, that ethanol is not what it's cracked up to be. It's just for the agriculture committees down in Washington to make money for the farmers.
Well, we live in an additive world.
Yeah.
I was reading about what's in our food. That's amazing, you know.
You know what? I don't think there was the sickness that there is going on today because of the additives they put in the food.
Well, I agree with you. My wife is affected by it more than I am, and she reads up on it, and it's amazing. When we were kids, what they put in the ground to fertilize was, you know, by today's standards, they'd be outraged. But
oh yeah, my dad used to wait for the horses to go by, and he'd go out with a shovel in his suit and take the manure and throw it in the garden.
yeah, but somehow we were in better shape, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, now they got all these chemicals, and you find out, you know.
Yeah, and the bees are going away, and pretty soon the birds are going to go away, and then if the birds and the bees are gone, what happens to the population?
Yep, that's true.
Hey, I heard you talking about GE.
Yeah.
You know, they were a main source and all that now. But, you know, I kind of was offended by the chamber telling the GE that the GE union heads, they should let their membership vote. Why would you vote on a proposal? You don't vote on proposals, vote on contracts.
And when you get down to it, it's really their decision anyways, employees. It's going to affect them.
Right.
I mean, you know, the days of manufacturing in this town, and it's not just the fault of Erie or Allentown or anybody, it's a state problem, you know.
The state problem, and that's 100%. You know, the way that state and federal government are putting out everything, the only person suffering is the low class and the middle class.
I mean, if you don't think the lack of what we would call the better
leadership.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, think of the better jobs that have gone now, right?
True.
And you ride around town and you can see the effect of it. I mean, we got one movie theater in this town. One movie theater. I mean, it's got multiple screens, but one.
True.
Look at any other town our size. You know, look at the amount of businesses that are having trouble. You know, like little mom and pop places.
Oh yes.
You know, we don't have. I mean, we have plenty of restaurants up in Peach Street, but we got an empty grocery store over on my side of town.
But nobody wants to come in the city of Erie because the tax rate is too great.
But here's the problem, though. And I tell, you know, we don't play in the level playing field.
No.
If we could have, you take Summit, I'll pick on them. They have all that gambling money.
True.
And they're supposed to use that for community problems, right?
Yep.
But yet they have the state police patrolling them. You know, we have to have a police department, so does Mill Creek. Well, we don't have to, but, you know, our size determines it.
True.
We have paid fire department, you know, Mill Creek's discovering that to some degree. And they're out there, you know, benefiting from all that money, and they're getting free protection. I mean, like they moved out to Harbor Creek, Erie Brewing. Well, now you see that Harbor Creek's trying to cut a deal with Lawrence Park to provide police protection.
Well, they always have tried that.
Yeah, because, you know, they're getting big enough to have their own, but these places move out there because, you know, the taxes are lower. Well, if they had to have a fire department, a police department like we did, and some of the other things we've had to, over the years, provide, and let's face it, we built the water department, the sewer department, those are all legacy costs.
That's true, and the harbor used to be all rural and farming areas.
Right, I mean, you know.
They're going to larger population and everything, and they're realizing they got to get revenue somewhere.
Right, but you watch, if their expenses go up, you'll see the same thing happen. People, like everybody now is flocking to Summit because they seemingly have hardly any township taxes because of the casino, you know.
True, but they can only get so much.
Right, I mean, these things all go in cycles, but
the way the casino money is divided up, it's all wrong.
yes, it is.
I mean, what they should do is put it in a lump sum and everybody get their share of it, and not have one person getting a six-figure salary determine who and where the money is going to go.
Right.
Go all the way back and blame Rendell's administration for the way this happened.
And I blame our legislators for not fighting for a different kind of write-up of that distribution.
That's true. You know, and then we had the opportunity, but MT MTR at that time, and we know who was the head of that, I won't say his name,
Right.
wanted the city to give them X amount of money for X amount of years, and at that time it would be like they're paying for everything, but they didn't have the foresight, the council at the time, to realize the amount of money that was going to bring in. So they lost the whole deal, and then again there were a few that tried to make money on this, and it came to front, and that almost put the salt in the deal that the city was having with MTR.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the chamber, you know, I think they're not proactive; they're reactive.
Yeah, I mean, you know, these companies, all these groups and organizations, I mean, the bottom line is the workers, I mean, they just signed a contract last year.
True.
And all of a sudden, that's gone.
Yes.
And now by leap of faith, you know, the GE believed, you know, they want them to believe that, you know, this latest proposal.
I knew quite a few people that worked at GE, and everybody wanted to work second shift because at the time it was paying 10% more. Mm-hmm. But then again, I heard from some of the workers themselves that they would get ahead on production scheduling. So far ahead, they had tickets in their lockers that they didn't have to do anything for days and days. But the quality wasn't there. Mm-hmm. Now, GE is looking at the point where they want the quality. They don't want the mass production that isn't any good. What would you do if you had a store and you were selling a product and it used to be 100% great, all of a sudden it goes down to 30%? You'd want to shake it up, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the only trouble is right now, I mean, it doesn't look like either side's going to come up with anything.
No, and the spin-off is going to hurt like crazy.
Sure. I mean, I can't blame the workers for being a little shook up. I mean, if you're going to go from 30 to 20...
That's true.
That's going to, you know...
Then again, it goes to the integrity of the person who's doing the work. If he wants to hurry up and ramp stuff up that won't pass inspection and throw it in as a completed ticket, there has to be a line somewhere.
You know, the problem is that always, when things go wrong, we always swing one way or the other too wide, though.
True.
That clock never stops in the middle somewhere, that arm.
That's right.
So now you have the extreme that, you know, and you can't blame them. They don't trust GE right now. They don't, you know, they just had a deal last year, but now, what's to say they won't change it again next year?
That's true. So how are we doing with the big E, which stands for empty buses?
Well, right now, we voted to, as a council, to basically allow the solicitor, if we have to work in conjunction with the EMTA solicitor to do what is necessary to take over, yes, to do, you know, change the paperwork, whatever it is. However, as always, and I've said this before, the door is always open to meaningful, you know, a resolution to the problem of if they want to sit down and talk. We've never said they couldn't.
You know what bothers me with this? The first resolution for the county to dump everything to the city, it came out 7-0.
Yeah.
And the county exec, he vetoes it, and all of a sudden it's 4-3, not enough to override. And the latest person that was put on the county there was Mrs. Fatika, mm-hmm. and she went along with the county exec, along with Carol Lowell. I don't know who the third vote was.
Ed DiMatteo, I believe.
And, hey, they don't want it. They couldn't run the lift. The mayor's going to have to try and figure out a way to come up with the extra money to fund this.
Well, I want to assure you, you know, it's not like we're going into this without a plan.
Oh, I understand.
But like I said publicly at the last council meeting, unlike the county, we're not going to play this out in the media. We're not going to write letters to the editor. We're not going to...
And what really disturbs me is what Councilman Wisnarski said, that the EMTA has a way to get this money, mm-hmm. get grants to help the taxpayer, which is myself and you, to get this taken care of. I'm still waiting for his prospective deal for the GAF site. He was supposed to come out with a deal that was going to be great. It's a good thing I didn't hold my breath.
Who's that? You mean
Jim Wisniewski.
Oh, what did he say about GAF?
He said he had a plan and he was going to bring it up. This is when he was running for office.
Oh.
You know, everybody has a plan when they're running for office.
Yeah, I think the plan we all want to see is, well, at least me.
Taxpayers.
I want to see taxable property there, and I want to see a nice balance of commercial, and you can have some residential there. I'm not against that, but I want to see some commercial and retail in there.
But yeah, you want to see mom and pop stores.
Sure, you can still put houses on the top floors. Have some residents there that live there, but on the bottom floors, I want to see some restaurants, some different, unique businesses.
He's going for taxes from that hotel. Just because you put an annex over a walkway, that's not part of the convention center.
I don't know if that played into the argument. The law said that, and I didn't read I haven't seen the law perfectly, but I haven't read it word by word, but it sounds like it says if it's part of the operation, meaning like the Civic Center, if you got a room, a building that is storage for equipment or something like that, or if you got a baseball park and you got locker rooms, things like that, that makes sense, okay?
Yeah, but this is just an annex to get across the walkway or the driveway.
Well, even if it wasn't connected, well,
it makes no difference. It's mine.
I don't think the new hotel's connected, John.
No, that's the one that they want to pay taxes.
Well, it's what it is. It's coming up now for what they do is they tax it, and then they will file an exemption. The convention center.
Yes.
And they'll challenge it, and then like what happened with the other hotel, the same thing happened. They taxed the building, determined how much it was going to be. And then they filed an appeal, and then they were given tax exempt status. So, but it doesn't adjoin the convention center directly, to my knowledge.
It's just a walkway across.
But these two buildings, if you're Nick Scott, and I did talk to Mr. Scott one day, he's a little disturbed because here you got Mr. Kennedy building a hotel across the street. It's going to pay taxes.
Right.
You got Mr. Scott, who's thinking about building one, and he will get some help from us and the state possibly, but at the end of the day, he's still going to pay taxes.
True.
When that runs out, just like Erie Insurance, when their programs run out that we give them, they're going to be paying taxes.
True, but then again, they'll come in and file for a less assessment, like they're doing now.
But at the end of the day, they're still going to pay something,
True.
But these hotels right now, they're paying nothing, and I think that aggravates people because they look at it and they're going, it's a profit-making venture.
True.
And just because the buildings were built with government funding,
That's right, and they're all paying the bed tax. And that bed tax is supposed to help, and I don't see anything other than a little folder that comes out every once in a while.
And see, we can't get that bed tax because under the Commonwealth laws, third-class cities can't.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, well, why don't you, I'd love to tax them. I'd love to do a lot of things. But that's why we go to the League of Cities and we argue our points. And, we have lobbying groups just like everybody else.
Well, what do we have to do to get off this third-class city and home rule? Do we have to petition?
Well, we're not a home rule, number one.
No, we're third-class.
We're what they call optional third class.
Right.
There's a big difference, but...
What do we do to get off that?
Well, you can't go to second class. You might have been able to go to 2A, which was a little different. I think Scranton did that. But outside of third class, you can drop backwards. Do you want to drop backwards into borough status?
Why not?
You have to look at all what the rules allow you to do, but...
We don't get that kind of money from Harrisburg.
What we really need is for the third class rules to be changed so that the cities... And here's a problem.
Get away from the strong mayor rule.
You got cities like Allentown and Erie, which are near 100,000, and Scranton. Then you got cities like Corey that are a third class city. And there's a great disparity in the numbers and the problems, although all the problems are pretty much the same. Your bigger cities, your Allentowns, your Yorks, your Bethlehems, they have to change the way we do business. Otherwise, we're in trouble.
That's true. Well, let me get off if you're slow, I got a couple other things to come at.
What was your last comment? I was going to comment. You said something about...
Oh, I was, you mean the zoning board? Or?
No, you were talking about the third-class code and how we get out of it, or...
Yeah, how do we get away from that
Well, years ago, the people picked a strong mayor form of government.
That's right.
And we could have done any number of things at that time. We could have went manager, council. We could have went...
Didn't we have a manager at one time?
If we did, I doubt it. I think it was... Erie used to be a borough, and then it became a city.
I'm mistaken that with the police. They had a director there.
Yeah, because what some towns do, like St. Mary's, PA does, they don't have a mayor per se that has power.
They have a city manager.
Right, and the council actually has more power that way. You know, they actually can make a difference, a majority. But, looking back on how we did things, you sometimes wonder if we did do the right thing, if we should have had a little different government, method. But, the people picked that many years ago.
True. But who knows? Maybe it's time for a new one.
Well, it's never says you can't change things,
No, if the squeaky wheel is squeaking loud enough, you get hurt, and maybe he has to have a little grease once in a while. So.
There are times when I think, I look back and I think maybe this is a time we should have more say in council,
True. So, well, let me get down and I'll be listening.
Yeah, I know you'll have some more before the end, probably.
Okay.
Yep, John always brings up about it. Oh, here we go. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Kaz. How you doing?
Good.
Okay, 2 weeks ago on East 34th, from East Avenue to Pine Avenue, on a Friday morning about 9 o'clock, I counted 14 garbage cans in the street. Is it that much trouble that when they pick up the recyclables, they can't put them on the grass? Then the following week, I had a doctor's appointment up on Grandview at 8:30 in the morning. So this was about 8:15. On East Avenue from 38th to Pine Avenue, there were 5 garbage cans in the street. Is it so much trouble that they have to leave them in the street?
You wouldn't think so.
That's my complaint.
I can bring it up to the refuse department, because they really, they really should. The ones that do my garbage, they're pretty close to the road, and they just, anytime I've had anything, they fling it back up on the lawn.
Well, whenever I have something in a recyclable container, mine's always on the lawn.
Yeah, it just got to be me. It's got to be one truck at least,
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to, because that's a traffic hazard, and if people don't get up early enough in the morning, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. That was an easy one.
John was kind of long-winded today, so.
Well, when I'm alone here, I
like to listen to John. He's very knowledgeable.
We're going to try to get him on the show, actually.
Oh, I'd like to see what he looks like here.
You might be surprised.
Okay, have a good day, Kaz.
Yeah, you're welcome to come on too if you like.
Oh, no.
Why?
I'm not a public speaker.
You don't have to be.
Okay, have a good day.
Hey, thank you for calling. Yeah, John always he always brings up some good points about our form of government. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm calling about there's a house around the corner from my house, and they busted out the curb to make a driveway.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just that where the curb is, it's right at the corner of like 19th and Whitley, and at those corners, there's really no sidewalk, so I have to like walk around that corner, and I've been hit, or almost hit many times, and it's just that they busted out the sidewalk on their own. It's not that they got a permit or anything to bust out not bust out the sidewalk, but bust out the curb to the street.
The people did that?
Yeah.
19th and what was that last street?
19th and Whitley. The address is actually 1902 Whitley.
Whitley.
Yeah.
Where's Whitley? Whereabouts is Whitley? I'll take a ride over there.
You know where Buffalo Road and Broad is?
Yeah.
It's that one street right right there. You know, like as you come off Broad Street and you make like a quick turn.
Yeah.
It's right there. They just put in curb or handicap cutouts, and this driveway that they broke out is like right next to it, and right next to the handicap cutout is a sewer also, and it's just it looks all messy and stuff. Like there's dirt all over the handicap cutout and everything.
So 1902 Whitley.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take a ride up there. I think I've been up there before, now that I remember it.
And one more thing I wanted to ask about was when the like with the Bayfront connector, whenever they do that diversion for the McBride Viaduct,
right?
Are they gonna do any upgrades to Buffalo Road and Broad, which is the detour? Because I mean, like the traffic that goes through that area now compared to what it was before.
Yeah.
The McBride Viaduct, I could walk across Buffalo Road like in 5 to 10 minutes, but now it takes, or 5 to 10 seconds. Now it takes like 5 to 10 minutes for me to walk across the street now because there's just so much traffic there.
You're talking about near Brandel's there, right?
Closer to Buffalo Road. I'm like the depot, when the signs were up, the signs were at Buffalo Road and Broad for the orange detour signs, but now the signs aren't up anymore. It's just that Buffalo Road and Broad area is that the traffic, like at least during the rush hour moments, are just really, really bad.
I don't know if they're going that far over, but the plan is not finalized yet, so they will be, when it's available, you can take a look at it. It'll be on the internet or, you know, do you have a computer?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, they'll make it available on the website, and you can take a look at it. I know as far as I know, they're supposed to do, obviously where you're going to be able to connect onto it. That's going to be that's at you know.
Yeah, I was just wondering if they were like going to do any upgrades for the detour, because I'm like, just with all that traffic over, like since 2009 or 2010.
Yeah, I haven't seen the final workup yet, but I can kind of ask the engineer and see if he knows. So you're concerned with the area near Broad and Buffalo Road, right?
Yeah, because like I said,
is that over there by that pharmacy?
Yeah, near CBS.
Yeah, in the old what used to be the BP station.
Yeah, yep, that's exactly where it's at. It's like I said, the traffic is just. I don't know if the lights got retimed for the increase of traffic, but it just seems like it's just so hard for pedestrians to walk across that road there.
Mm-hmm. I can check and see if they know. You know, I'm not positive, but I know the area a little bit up the road from there is pretty bad, where Brandel's is.
Oh yeah, but with the Brandel, where the off ramp is from the connector,
right?
The crosswalks, you can't even see, like they're not at the right height. The crosswalk signs where they turn white and then orange,
right?
Like just looking at them, they're not angled right where you can actually see it being the cross, or if it's orange where it's just they just don't seem like they're at the right height. And I'm like 5'11", and I still can't see them.
At the crosswalks, you mean?
Yeah.
I know there's some changes going to be made on actually 12th Street. And, of course, near the interchange itself, there's going to be changes. But I'll check and see if I can find out if there's any more, like, areas around that area that they're talking about, looking at.
Okay.
But, yeah, for sure, once they get it, it's in one of the design phases again. And once they finalize it, it will be available. And I'm not positive they'll have public hearing on it, but they may be.
I was just making sure that the detour area wasn't going to be ignored whenever whatever they do to the connector does. I'm like, it's the detour for the bridge, and
because they're going to detour it over there. You think about Broad and Buffalo, right?
Yeah, I'm when the McBride Viaduct went down, everything got detoured over onto the Buffalo Road and Broad for them to go up to Broad Street to the connector.
Right.
But all right, Kaz, I'll let you go.
Okay, thanks for calling. Those are good concerns, though, because that project is going to hopefully ease some traffic in some areas, but that could cause a problem in another area.
Yeah.
Because that whole area there, I use it a lot when I come off the Bayfront. And, trying to go, just alone with when you got Erie County Farms running full bore, too.
Yeah.
That road gets pretty crowded.
Oh, yeah. But the other thing that should be addressed is, I don't know if it ever got changed, but I remember I've lived in this area all my life, and there used to be an exit-only sign at the Perry Plaza to go on to Broad Street, like when you're at Erie County Farms.
Right.
Well, when people enter that area, it backs up traffic all the way to the Bayfront connector.
Now, are you talking about the exit more up there by, like across from Brandell and right alongside Erie County Farm?
Not that one. The one that's the driveway that's to Perry Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
Not behind Perry Plaza. The one that's right there where Eckerd's used to be a long time ago.
Yeah, is that the first building on the corner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's right across from Brandell.
Yeah.
And when you come in, you just go straight and Erie County Farms is to your left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad driveway.
Yeah. Because like I said before there used to be a sign up there that said exit only.
Oh, really?
Sign down. I'm like, I haven't seen the sign up since.
You mean you couldn't go in that way years ago?
No, you couldn't. It was just exit only. You could either turn left or right to get out that way. It wasn't a entrance.
Yeah, I've been in there where, I tell you, it's a little tricky.
Yeah.
Because what you didn't have in those days either was the Bayfront Highway just a little bit up, up the road.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of traffic backed up and it's busy trying to get on there. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea.
I don't know if it was zoned that way and it just got taken down and it just got...
And I don't know if the plaza did that on their own, maybe,
Yeah.
All right, I'll check into... I don't know if the city did that or possibly the plaza could have.
Well, I know when the sign went down, and I'm not going to say business's name, but when a certain business went in there, that's when the sign disappeared.
Okay, we're talking about... I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, to me, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go down a little ways and come in on that road that's...
Fairmont.
Yeah, the one that's right between, the old Masons and the plaza.
Yeah.
Or, that wouldn't be a bad idea, because that first one is, you're right, that's a...
Yeah, like when people are trying to turn in there, when they come off the Bayfront, it backs it up almost all the way to the exit from the connector.
Right, and everybody wants, of course, to get the first parking spots.
Yeah.
So that backs it up even worse.
Yeah.
I'm glad you told me. I never knew that.
Yeah. All right, Kaz, I'll let you go.
Hey, thanks for calling.
All right, thanks. Bye.
I love it when people call up with these good ideas. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Cass, how are you?
Doc, what's up?
Well, I've been trying to reach you for a couple of weeks, but haven't been able to.
I've had relatives. I've been out of town. It's been a rough 2 weeks.
I imagine has been.
But I see you had a lot of motorcycles the other day.
What?
See, you had some motorcycles down the street from you.
Oh, yeah. They've had many of those poker runs and stuff coming out of there.
Yeah, they make a lot of money on those poker runs.
Remember hearing on City Council, you brought up, you and a couple others brought up the issue of farming in the city.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I had a little note at the top of here. I can cross it out now. Urban farming, yes.
Now, I have a little contact with one of the garden centers here out on the outskirts of the city. I'm wondering if I know they get involved with the Little Italy's garden program that they have.
Probably with a lot of that is through Wally Brown, the Neighborhood Watch, and also the Sisters of St. Joseph have been doing that.
Right. So this garden center is a helpful
who is that's doing that? What's garden center?
Stands.
Ah, Stands?
Yeah. But I'm wondering if you can get maybe even Mason Farms involved, we work together on doing something like that. That would be helpful for those with low incomes and maybe put the kids to work, trying to teach them some farming skills. The other thing, too, you mentioned about Erie County Farms. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I'm wondering, I know she's going through a struggle right now at, what's it called, refinancing and stuff.
Right, with bankruptcy and...
I'm wondering if there's schools like Gannon or Mercyhurst, they offer management training programs for, type of different management fields. Mm-hmm. Why can't they do like some of the hotels lines do? They train people in hotels to be managers of hotels and that. Why can't they do that with, say, marketing, food industries? And maybe use her store as one of those training areas.
First you have to have, first she's going to want to have to do it, and so would the grocery stores.
Right.
I don't think it's a bad idea, but of course it would take, they'd have to be willing to do it too. Now in her case, I don't understand the bankruptcy laws all the way, but I'm sure she's now under some kind of purview by the court,
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Why can't some of the schools step forward and say, let us try to be of some help with you to maintain your business by using your business as a training.
Well, that'd be a good idea, because a lot of times small businesses like her, they can't sometimes afford that, and possibly with the school, maybe the kids can do it. There are some that get paid, but there's other kids that just have to get what you call practical training.
Like an internship.
Right, and some pay and some don't, but
That's, like you said, it could be a source of supplemental income while they're going to school, too.
It could be a project for some student to say, look, I got this company, I helped them out to now where they're they got a nice market share. And
well, just like with the parking authority, remember, that's how we got to become friends. I worked as a cashier while I was going to school.
Right.
Something like that, it's a small, short-term working program. You're not full-time, you don't get the benefits, but at least you get the skills and the experience.
That's something, next time I talk to my old friend Charlie Bennett over there, Professor Bennett, he's an economist, but I'll bring it up to him about maybe their marketing department, getting involved in businesses.
You get into computers any?
Me?
Yeah.
What do you mean, get into them?
Do you use them?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I wish I was as literate as some of my younger family members are, and I'm not.
Well, here's what you need to do. When you see Charlie Bennett, ask him about the Google group. Ask him if you can join the Google group.
What, he got one up there?
Oh, yeah, they meet every, basically two different groups. One is a beginner user group, they call it the bug group.
Yep.
And then there's another group that meets to Holy Rosary there.
Oh, that's Louis Chocho.
Pardon?
I think Louis does that over at, a friend of mine does the computers over at Holy Rosary. Yeah, is that him?
Yeah.
Louis Chocho. Yeah, he's, I've been trying to hook up with him because I've been trying to carve some time out of my schedule. He's got a photography class and he does computers too.
He's good at that.
Yes, he is. I didn't know you went there.
Oh, yeah, I go there. When I can get there. I can't drive there, of course, but I have somebody takes me there when he's able to. So, and then, I don't know if you remember Tom Kuklinski from Gannon. He started the group.
Right.
But we go back a ways.
Yeah, Louis does even cameras. He's got a course on people that get these nice cameras but don't really know how to use them.
Right.
He said there's a lot, he always joked me, he said it's a lot more than sticking it on automatic, if you want to learn how to really use one. But, yeah, those are nice courses, and,
There's a small fee for it, but you learn a lot, and it really does. I've learned a lot from just attending some of these programs that they have there, and so you might find it enjoyable, too.
Yeah, I want to get together with Charlie. I used to see him every once in a while when I used to eat, I'd stop in again and get some lunch in the afternoon at the, their new digs over there that we didn't have. But, yeah, I'll bring it up to him because a lot of times they try to get like kids placed different places just to get some practical experience. You know, they can't always pay them, but you know, if you can get some hours and some experience, it might lead to something down the line. You know, plus you got that on your resume that you know you did something outside of a classroom setting. You actually dealt with a real business. You know.
Hey, another thing, before I got it on my mind yet, those body cameras.
Yes.
I seem to remember, we're going back by about 2 or 3 months, when the Black Lives Matter group was raising an issue about them. I thought I heard them say that they'd be willing to help cover some of the cost of those.
Well, you know, that was brought up, and they never really, I had never really seen a concrete proposal. I heard it vocalized. I've heard from people that the offer was there, from everybody from the county with gaming funds to a couple of groups like you talked about. It's not only about money. If you read in the paper.
Oh yeah, I read what you're saying. There's a lot more.
Yeah, we recently met with. This is something that's been brought up a lot longer than just this last meeting. The chief and I have talked about this going back over a year and a half ago, long before the 2 incidents. And you know, council then have been asking him, and it always comes down to there's not a lot of departments that are using it. The ones that are mostly small departments. The big departments in Pittsburgh, for one, has suspended their program temporarily, and the issues involve around the usage of the cameras, the storage of the material, and also the state law works against a lot of things that you're trying to do with them.
Okay.
So what the chief proposed to us all was, you know, he's been looking at it, and the last meeting he gave us some rough price on them, and there's many firms that do it, and he said he gets approached all the time. The big issues are when we do have this meeting and we study it, you're going to have to write a policy, and the policy has to be able to hold up to the law, because there's issues involved with wiretapping, privacy, all that. And that's what led to a lot of departments suspending it. And there is no one policy out there. Every state is different. That's the problem. What works in one state, under state law, may not work in another one. In Pennsylvania, being a commonwealth with different laws, you know, it's not like nobody wants the cameras, and the cost, that's another problem. And you got to remember, if we do go to body cameras, now that material has to be stored in a safe place. It has to be available for evidence. You have to remember each police officer that has one, and I imagine initially it would be all the patrol officers. Each one's going to have hours of tape on each one of his, or you know, data. So you have to store it, and you have to have somebody that's has control of the data, can access the data, can redact the data, can pull it out when you need it for court, or if somebody subpoenas it. So, you know, it was suggested that the storage alone, and you'd have to have anywhere from probably 2 to 3 people responsible for it.
You have one facility right now in Erie that does store that type of data from the TV stations.
Right, but here's the problem. When you're dealing with evidence for court, I'm not sure if that applies, you know. It's like when the city stores evidence, and we do have it secured, that comes under scrutiny. Like, did you have a chain of possession? You know, did anybody have access to it? You know, that's the problem. So whatever you do, it's not as simple as just putting cameras on and storing the data. It's got to be stored safely. It has to be, you have to have people accountable.
Right.
You know, it can't be, and you can't sometimes have the argument's going to be you can't always have police controlling the data.
Oh.
Because then it looks like, you know.
I don't know where how well these, like the films from the different TV programs, the news and that.
Right.
I contact them for maybe copies of certain appearances I make. They have a separate storage area where they're separate from any of their facilities.
Right. Right, and if that goes to court, you can bet that the attorneys will have that analyzed and make sure that hasn't been monkeyed with too, you know?
But I don't know how they store it, but I mean, yeah, you're right. There'll be a certain legal ramifications on how to store it and who gets access to it and who doesn't.
Yeah, because when police take evidence, there's a chain of custody.
Right.
And I'm not an expert, but I mean, you can, if you watch the guys, they're very careful that, you know, it doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
Oh, there again, get Mercyhurst or Gannon's criminal justice programs involved in it.
Well, it's being studied. I mean, like I say, Pittsburgh, who had them, has backed off for a while. They're trying to get some direction before they re-put them back in. And, you know, we created this, but we haven't created all the rules to,
Well,
you know.
I hope that the world comes to a point where we don't have to worry about these things. We've gone backwards in terms of.
Well, I can tell you, most of the police officers I talk to, they're not afraid of them.
Oh.
But you know, it's just that you know everybody wants to make sure we do it the right way, and we just don't put them in there because you know.
It's odd that we become a world where we can't trust people like we used to years ago when we could leave the doors open, our cars unlocked.
Yeah, that's true, but those days seem to be way behind us.
They are. That's why I say it's sad that our world has gone this way. And, you know, it's bad that, I know part of it's the way we've gotten into drugs and stuff like that too, but yeah, I wish one of these days, hopefully the world will change around again.
I think it changed, seriously, probably right around the time you and I got out of college.
Good.
It's been a slow progression.
1970s to 80s, that's when a lot of these things started.
But actually, it started going down long before that, but slow. We never saw it. You know, the world we knew, the type of town we envisioned, you know, small town America, that all disappeared after World War II. Slowly, you know.
Last thing I'm going to ask you, I don't know if it makes any difference or not, but when you have a zone marked as commercial zone, does that commercial zone entail also for food industry, or is that a separate zone?
What do you mean, food industry?
Well, I'm thinking Upper Parade Street here.
Yeah.
Used to be, you know, hardware stores, clothing stores, and that.
Right.
When you go between 26th and 28th on Parade.
Right.
All food.
You mean like a grocery store?
Oh, no, they're selling food. Now you walk in, you can buy a meal or hamburger, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or you can buy food in here too, I imagine. I've never really gone in there too much myself because part of the time they don't speak English.
So you want to know if they can do that, or?
Oh, see, that's what I was wondering. When they make something commercial zone, does that mean that it can be either way?
Well, it's zoned business, and depending how it's zoned, there's a list of things you can and cannot do in that zone.
Well, maybe you can take a look to see if they're okay. I'm assuming they are.
Yeah, if you give me, I'll call you sometime. We'll get the addresses. But if the area's like, say, zoned business, there's certain things you can put in there, and there's certain things you can't. There's, but not all businesses, not all zones are the same. You know what the uses. There's a whole, and then every once in a while the council has to vote after the planning commission looks at it and the zoning looks at it. Sometimes we have to grant variances, and that's when they go to the neighborhood. You know.
You call these places being brought up before council, but maybe they were and I wasn't aware of it. But anyway. So we'll have to get together. You going to be around downtown around noon tomorrow?
Possibly. I have to check my schedule.
Because I'm going to be down there around noon tomorrow.
So are you in favor of urban farming or not?
Pardon?
Are you in favor of our urban farming? You know.
In favor of it because, there's actually a place on Marvin Avenue where a fellow used to, there's a huge tract of probably about an acre of land at least that he used to plant, but when he passed on, it all became grassland. Yeah,
what's this going to be? Is this going to be permission to do commercial farming where you can actually, and we're going to look at that, and it's going to be looked at and determined.
Farming would be helpful because, like I said, if you get some neighbors, they don't have a big enough area to plant a large amount.
Right. It's not going to go everywhere. It's going to be, you know.
Maybe we should go together and, you know, and invest in maybe instead of buying 3 or 4 tomato plants, they can buy 50 tomato plants and then have a nice crop, because the more plants you have, the healthier your crop will be.
Right. We'll look into it, though. Thanks for calling, Doc.
All right, you have a good one, Chaz.
You too.
I should catch up with you tomorrow.
No problem. Yeah, the urban farming that council is looking at, and we haven't... Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Chaz. Hold on 1 second. That turned down my TV.
That's okay, yeah, because that interferes a little bit.
Oh, I know that. What was that, 2 weeks ago? That guy talked for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It was just reverb, I mean, for the whole call. It was just horrible.
And there's a little delay on there, too, so that'll, you know, that causes a grief.
Yeah, I got to remind people, turn off their TV, preferably. So, anyhow, the graffiti task force, is that still going?
I don't think so.
Oh, boy.
Well, what I'm going to do, I meet with, let me mark that down. I meet with, well, since Jessica left council, and then they forced, who was it, the one district justice off it, Tom Carney? Do you remember?
Yes.
They forced him off it because they said he couldn't be on there and then rule on these cases. It seemed like it lost a little steam, but I meet with Jessica. She's now head of the Council of Governments, and when I meet with her, it'll be shortly. I'll bring it up to her if she knows if it's still going on. But I haven't heard. I don't think we have any member assigned to it from council or anything.
Okay.
I think we need it back, don't you?
Yeah, 2 areas that I just seen. There's one fresh one. You know that the big wall on the Bayfront Highway?
Yeah.
From the hotels?
Right. You mean that the one when you come out of the convention center?
Yeah, it's the south of the convention center and the hotel.
Right.
It said there's that big wall that's like, oh boy, I don't know, it would be the foot of what, like Peach Street or something.
Yeah, you wonder how they do that, you know?
But, well, no, they just walked down the side, that little sidewalk that's right there, and they tagged it.
Well, you would think, you know, every time I'm on that road, it's pretty busy. But
probably 3, 4 in the morning.
Yep.
They hit it. So yeah, if you can mark that down, it's the Bayfront, the big wall.
Right.
And the other one is also Bayfront Highway. It's the Strong Vincent Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about, when you're heading south before you get to like 8th Street.
Right.
And you see it's up there, and you know, whenever those guys did that, they're risking their life to do that.
Yeah, you know, and the gentleman who puts the flags up there is a good friend of mine. And that kind of detracts from that now, you know?
Yeah. So that graffiti on that Strong Vincent Bridge, that's been there for years.
And you wonder how when I go on the highway, I'm wondering how they do it over 90. I've said, you really got to be goofy to hang over the edge.
I'm thinking, you know, it has to be like 2 kids involved. Somebody has to hold on to, or, you know, they got a rope, or I don't know.
Yeah, but like doing it over I-90, I'd be a little leery.
Chaz, it's just it's so stupid. I don't see where they get how they get off on that.
I don't, you know what's happened is we have legitimate graffiti that the city allowed alongside the railroad tracks, you know, alongside the Central Mall.
Yeah, I didn't like that idea either.
No, but they hired what they call professional guys.
Yeah, I know.
And they thought that would slow it down a little bit, but...
It might encourage them.
Yeah, I just, you know, some towns have tried that route, like saying, okay, here's a wall, you can do it, we don't care, you know. But then they start hitting the other ones. Where was I? And I was looking, they were tagging like utility boxes. Every time you see a utility box, and even in some of the so-called better suburbs in town, they're tagging them too.
Yeah.
It just, you know, it is ugly looking.
And the electrical boxes on the railroad too.
Yep.
Those, I don't see why CSX or Norfolk and Southern, why they just don't take care of that immediately. I mean, those guys got to have some paint with their truck.
Yeah, they must hit them like... I was in San Francisco once, and I was amazed. They were tagging the buses.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, you know, they were going down through Chinatown, and I'm remarking, and it's a very pretty area, and then all of a sudden you see this graffiti tagging the side of buildings, and then you see some of the buses tagged, and I'm going, it's just not good, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an ethnic thing or I don't even know who's doing it.
Well, they tagged one of our. I remember the day it was Veterans Day, and I got a call in the morning, and they tagged the Korean War Memorial.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and I had to really hold back a couple of my older veteran friends who were Korean War vets, who were like, I don't know what they would have done, but it wouldn't have been good.
Yeah.
And thank heavens Mr. Brandell came in and he cleaned it all up for us. But you wonder what goes into people's heads, you know, that, you know, tagging memorials and you see them in cemeteries doing it. I just don't get it, you know.
Yeah, that's I just, like I said, I can't imagine what is in their mind. What does that make them feel like more of a man or a bigger person?
It must. I mean, I can remember when we were kids, you know, some kids wax windows, but at least that went away. But now it's like permanent damage. They love that, you know.
Yeah, that's just a shame. Okay, Cal. Well, hey, I'll talk to you next week.
Hey, thanks. We got to get off the air. I just got the end sign, so thank you for calling.
All righty. And hey, where's DJ this week? Where's your buddy?
He's actually doing a class down at Cat TV. They have they're dealing with young people and some nonprofits, and they're teaching them how to use the cameras and everything.
Oh, good. Well, hey,
it's one of their public.
I think both of you guys are a pretty good team. It's good to talk to you guys.
I like him, and I got a surprise visitor. We're going to try to bring on John someday.
Okay. Another thing, whatever happened to the guy who used to own the staircase? The spiral staircase, used to talk on the radio. Oh, yeah. That guy Finley. Yeah,
you know, I've reached out to him a couple times, but he's out of town once in a while. But I'll try to contact him. But I think he likes to go boating and stuff. But I will contact him and ask him if he'd like to come on again.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of people they really miss his voice, and you know, he was always a great radio personality. I mean, he just seems like a good guy. You know?
I think he goes out in the winter, but then he comes back here, and if I remember him talking about it, he likes to go boating a lot. Can't blame him, you know.
Okay, guys.
Hey, I'll try to get those on the air, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, too. And with that, we got the high sign that we have to go off the air, so thank you for calling in. We'll see you again here next week with Taxpayers Hotline.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.